You want to go to war, Blackie? I'm for real. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Aaron's right here, guys. Welcome to Sptv, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Mateo! You have an opportunity to use the weapon of kindness and love. It's a more powerful weapon than anger and aggression. They've been told in Scientology that we're kind of dumb. We're not going to rub people up the wrong way. Don't think he's married, don't think he has children. He's definitely not getting pulse, because if he was, he wouldn't be making 3 videos a day on complete and utter nonsense. There was something else on my mind. It's flipping gone now, but it'll come back in a second. Is it that the whole thing went stale and then it was just freshened up by speedrunners again? So all of a sudden Scientology is trending again. So let's go out and do some videos. Is that what I'm looking at there? I'm just asking. I'm not saying everybody, so don't flip and just don't twist it. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. Ooh, and people don't worry, I'm not going to put up any of his clips. People didn't like it the last time, did they? Oh no. We're going to be talking about
dark halls, whispering shadows speak. Camera's eye sees all, no need to peek. Cold spots, chills running down my spine. Audio crackling, words left behind. Ancient walls, oh they creak and groan. Specters call us through the stone. Eerie whispers caught in the night, searching for answers in the ghostly light. Life after life, we hunt the unknown through the veil where silence grown. Truth in the echoes, truth in the screams. Paranormal world ain't just dreams. Flickers in the dark make me stay aware. EVP's proof that souls do dare. Haunted streets of olden days, we track the spirits lost in the haze. Echoes of lives once lived, now gone. We follow trails till the break of dawn. The misty cloisters, ancient graves, seeking truth where the moonlight waves. Life after life, we hunt the unknown through the veil where silence grown. Truth in the echoes, truth in the screams. Paranormal world ain't just dreams. Life after life, we hunt the unknown through the veil where silence grown. Truth in the echoes, truth in the screams. Paranormal world ain't just dreams. Ooh, ain't just dreams.
Folks, this is a different kind of video. I decided I would bring you to an island not far from my house called Inch Island. And it's the name of the island means Island of the Oysters. Way back in famine times, when people were starving because of the potato plight, this was one of the areas where people suffered less, because when you're near a coastal area here, people depended on shellfish and fish and stuff like that. So that was their saving grace in some ways. Now, I've done a number of videos in this location. At night time, bring my dog for a walk and stuff like that. I just thought I would do a video for the Krusty Rabbit Hole channel. And I need to talk about a few things and maybe come clean about a few things. And what a better way to do that than to come to this island. So enough looking at me. I'm going to turn around the camera, and this is where I like to come when I like to offload some of the things that have been on my mind. And my doggie is over here. That's Saoirse, and she's now jumping on me. Now, there we go. And she loves the water and stuff like that. And over here is my Porsche 911 with Volkswagen badges on it. It's not a Beetle, it's a Porsche, okay? Couldn't afford a Porsche, so I just bought that instead. But when I say come clean, I need to explain myself a little bit here. Since I started covering the anti-Scientology movement, or the ex-Scientology movement, whatever you want to call it, most of my content has been basically taking the piss out of Smith-Levin for doing really stupid things on camera and then making excuses for it. Or Marlon, who follows along blindly, and basically Aaron supporters following along blindly and making excuses for him. It's there was some comedic value in some of that, but there's another side to it too. In some ways, it's very sad. And Saoirse likes to get in the water. She hasn't been out in a while because I've been sick. So, I think I'm going to be here a while. And of course, she wants to jump. She usually wants to jump on me when she's soaking wet. What I wanted to basically say is, yeah, I take the mick and stuff, but there's a sad side to all of this, and I wanted to address that today. You know, let us let's venture up on the pier here. Recently, some of the abuses that Marlon had talked about while she was in a religious cult kind of resurfaced again, and sort of was in some ways used as a weapon and stuff. I decided I'd refresh my memory on some of these things, and I went back and I looked at an interview that Marlon had done with Kelly Copter. Now, Marlon, for anybody who doesn't know, her channel name is called Copy, Cults and Crafts. And don't see an awful lot of copy, don't see a wild lot of crafts, don't see a wild lot of cults, more sort of having a dig at a guy called Tommy Scovel and her partner, who was a Scientologist kind of thing. And she seems to be a little bit over interested in that sort of thing. But I went through these interviews, and quite honestly, it is a sad situation. You know, Marlon's upbringing wasn't the best. You know, she had a difficult start in life. She, at the age of 6, her house burnt down. She lost her family. She ended up being fostered out and adopted and stuff. That's where she ended up, in a religious organisation that was very controlling. Eventually ending up in a residential compound kind of thing called Door of Hope. The lady that was running this religious organisation was called Marlon Sweeney, as far as I know. And Marlon had described this woman very typical of the way other people would describe cult leaders. Very narcissistic, do what I say is not as I do kind of thing. And of course, when you're in it, you think you're doing yourself good, but you're not. You know, and she escapes that. She finds infinity with ex-Scientologist. Now, here's where the wee problem might be. When it comes to, I'll just show you this. When it comes to people escaping those kinds of situations, not cool. And up there is a lookout fort. It was a military fort protecting the area kind of thing. When you escape those kinds of situations, you're used to being controlled. The dog ran into the back of my leg and then nearly fell down. She's very energetic. You can, if you're not used to being a leader of your own life and used to being controlled, brought up being controlled, it's very easy to fall back into that, which I think may have happened when she decided to support the anti-Scientology movement. Not the anti-Scientology movement as a whole, but a guy called Smith-Levin, called Growing Up in Scientology. Now, it's where it gets very difficult. They become friends. Aaron is a detention seeker. And how do you get attention on YouTube? You do dodgy things on camera and you push the boundaries. That's how you grab attention on YouTube. But when it comes to abusing partners or women, abusing Scientologists and stuff, and you do it on camera, and then you don't have any choice, only make excuses for it. And then people fall for those excuses. They're basically backing up bad behaviour rather than saying, Aaron, you messed up here, you need to reel it back a bit, you know. Marlon tends to be that kind of person when she's kind of challenged to think for herself and put some examples in front of her, like I did when Aaron was in jail. Her response to me was basically the usual response she normally gives. Glass houses and stones response. Trying to avoid the conversation altogether. First of all, saying, well, I'll leave that to Aaron. But Aaron's in jail. Aaron was in jail at that time. And then she decides she would say, oh, don't look in this direction, look over here. Look at DOA. I presume it was DOA she was talking about. That's what's happening over at Aaron's channel. Don't look in this direction, look over here. Look what this person's doing. The thing is, yes, I take the piss out of Marlon sometimes, and I do take the piss out of Aaron. But what do I really think? This is where the coming clean comes part. Am I PI staker, piss taker? No, well, maybe I am a bit, but there's part of me that's sad for these people. Even there's parts of me that's sad for Aaron, you know, because he's going down a very dodgy path, if you know what I mean. Now, we don't have the right to judge other people's lives, but you know, you do notice when they're going down the wrong path, if you know what I mean. I want to take a break for a second. This, as beautiful as this place is, right? Lovely and quiet, beaches, private beaches, houses on hills and stuff like that. Was it 1947? 1957. Here's a plaque here. It's in memory of 4 fishermen who left Lackin Point, which is here, Inch Island, on Friday, the 21st of June, 1957, while fishing salmon off Fannet Head, tragedy struck in the early hours of Saturday morning, the 22nd of June, and all 4 lives were lost. They are not forgotten, nor will they ever be, as long as life and memories last. We will remember them and all who have lost their lives at sea. And it's erected by Inch Island Heritage Committee. And there's photographs here. Let me get up here. That's Thomas Porter. Now, I think there's two brothers here. There's James Brown and Bertie Brown here. It's amazing to have photographs in these kind of little tiles. And Eugene McKinley. It shows the boat up there, and it says Playmate on the boat. Maybe that's what it was called. Let me get down here without falling. It's a while since I used this gimbal, so I'm kind of... It's a while since I've been out, so it's like... I've lost my train of thought. Right, do we have... Yes, we're talking about judging people's lives and stuff. Yes, we don't have a right to judge people's lives, but we know when it starts affecting other people, there's a problem. You know? And then we... And I think when it comes to Aaron's community, and it's like, it's become kind of cult-like, if you know what I mean. It's very, don't ask awkward questions, don't question Aaron, don't challenge Aaron, or you're going to be blocked, or you're going to be timed out. I got blocked on 4 channels, and I was being respectful. Then Aaron turns around and says he decides to do a video that David Pacman had done recently. It just came up on my feed today, actually, about the problem with YouTube. Blaming the system. And why all of a sudden views has dropped. Yes, there might be a problem there. There might, you know, sometimes you get views and all of a sudden they drop very suddenly. But the problem is, Aaron made friends with a number of people that are very experienced when it comes to YouTube, and fell out with every one of them. I want to sit up against this rock because I can't walk very far. He falls out with every single one of them. Now, the other thing that Aaron has a big problem with is he has a channel with 256,000 subscribers, which is just over 250,000. It's a lot, but he puts out a video a couple of days ago saying that there's a problem. There's a problem on Aaron's channel for the last 12 months or so. It's over 12 months where Aaron struggles to get 20,000 views on a video. That's terrible percentages. And it's again, look over here, don't look this way. I'm going to blame somebody else for it. I'm going to blame YouTube for it. The problem with Aaron is, I don't know if you feel the same way, but every time Aaron puts out a video and you press on it, and you get the same intro, hey Aaron. Where is Aaron right now? Do you know this flipping clip from a TV series or a film or something? There's no effort in it. And he uses that for the last number of years. And I'm kind of sick of it, actually. And, you know, it's the same thing. Aaron is here. Welcome back to PXT or SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. It's the same shit every day. 3 times a day. for years. We kind of know on YouTube, every so often you have to revamp. You have to remodel the house. You know what I'm saying? You have to freshen things up. And Aaron doesn't do that. Aaron was a very good educator when it comes to the cult of Scientology. The first time I heard about Scientology was something like 1995. 1995 in Ireland. We had RT1, RT2, which is two Irish stations, BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV, Channel 4, UK stations. And most of these stations finished up their broadcasts at about 12 o'clock at night, and then you had nothing else to watch during the week. Maybe on Saturday night, you might get a film that goes on into their early hours. But generally, the Irish stations, there was a prayer at bedtime, and then it was just a colour test screen for the rest of the night until about 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 a.m. or something like that, where they'd start rebroadcasting again. So on Friday night, it was a Friday night or Saturday night, I can't remember which, very popular TV show was called The Late Late Show. And the presenter back then was called Gabriel Byrne. And he was, for short, Gay Byrne. The Late Late Show. Very, very famous for the flipping toy shows at Christmas. But one Friday or Saturday night, he decided to delve into rocky ground and bring up the subject of Scientology, and brought on a whistleblower, and I can't remember her name offhand, but brought on this young lady, had a business in town, in Dublin, was a very good sports person, got caught up in Scientology, lost a couple of grand, I think £1,500. I think her family rescued her out of it. What happened was, when Scientology found out that this interview with this whistleblower was going to take place, they decided they would get a guy over from the UK at the time called what's his flipping name? Mansell. Can't remember his first name. Second, can't remember his first name. His second name is Mansell. Mansell. Found out after that, Mansell is part of Scientology. When I rewatched the clips from the Late Late Show, I decided to go delving into, is this guy still in Scientology? What does it bring up? Brings up one of Aaron's videos. Is one of his live streams. He is in Clearwater covering a block party, whatever the flip that is. A Scientology block party. And back then, might have been only 6 or 8 months ago, I can't remember how old the video was. You see how Aaron works. Aaron loves being a pain in the ass. And Aaron was going around this party. There was a desk on each end of the street where people signed into this party and give up their telephone numbers, which meant that people going to the party would end up on Scientology's mailing list, which is not a good thing. So Aaron is around there being a pain in the ass to the Scientologists. And there's this guy, and I think it was Andrew Shape. It looked like Andrew Shape, but there's a guy from OSA anyway that looks like Andrew Shape, following Aaron around everywhere he went. And Aaron, you notice like Aaron likes to push buttons. He likes to piss people off. The problem was he's pushed a little bit too far, if you know what I mean. But anyway, in that video, he's on the street of number 500, which is the Scientology building that Aaron got his foot stuck in the door, kind of thing. He's standing at the door asking for Peter Mansell. And because I think he's seen him or something, and doesn't get sort of a reply or something like that, and he goes on, he starts pissing off another few people, walks around and starts talking to other people, and when he meets Scientology person, pisses them off a little bit. Fucking one of the things he was doing too, he was questioning Scientologists about Danny Masterson and what he was convicted for, and he was openly, with a loud voice, talking to these people and questioning them whether it is okay for Danny Masterson, who, you know what I'm saying, a number of women, to be still in good standings with Scientology, but the victims to be declared a suppressive person. You think that's okay? And he's talking really loudly. There's kids about, kind of thing. And I was thinking, Aaron, you need to be careful about words. You know, there's kids and stuff discussing those kinds of things. But eventually, who does he run into? But Peter Mansell. So Peter, from 1995 to this very day, has been in Scientology as a OSA operative. And boy, what a waste of a fucking life, if you know what I mean. Where was this supposed to be? This was supposed to lead to something, and I can't remember what it is now. But, yeah. This whistleblower that was on the Late Late Show, Scientology got sniff of it, and they sent over Peter Mansell to the program to be the opposite side to the whistleblower. And found it very interesting and extremely creepy that people from the UK had to be sent over to be the opposition to a whistleblower in Ireland. You know, and even the whistleblower says, why can't you just let the people in Scientology in Ireland deal with it, rather than sending over Peter Mansell and some other guy from the UK. Find out later on, it's the way OSA operates, kind of thing. Now, couldn't help but think since, was these other people in the audience and the whistleblower that spoke out, were they followed home? I don't know. But way back then, pre-mass internet, that's what they sort of done. But I could see the way Aaron operates in that live stream. Be a pain in the ass, but don't push it. The last number of months, he just pushed a little bit too far, if you know what I mean. But back to his followers. It's very, very difficult to understand, especially when it's women, backing up Aaron despite all these things, despite all the horrible interactions with women, horrible interactions with Scientologists, and then making excuses for him. And Aaron's the best, and I'm going to continue following Aaron, and I'm not going to call him out on his bad behaviour, because Aaron is the best, really. And we've asked ourselves a number of times, are we watching different videos than them? Obviously we're not, we're watching the same videos. Why? And then Marlon might have the key to all of this, because Marlon was in a religious cult, and when you're in a cult and you're used to being, I suppose Scientology as well, you're used to being dictated to. Your control of your life is in someone else's hands. When you're going through that for years, it's hard to get used to not being in that situation anymore. So what happens? Some people get comfortable being in another situation similar to that. And this what happens when the person that's in the top of the group, Aaron, the owner of the channel, this is why his fans don't seem to want to call him out on his dodgy deeds, as it were. Dog's loving to going in for a swim here. Where do I turn around here? Right. There you go. It's been a while since she's been in here. It started making me question. Oops! Should I be taking the piss? Because what I think I'm dealing with here, in a lot of cases, is victims. Now, of course, Marlon's not going to say I'm not a victim, I'm an independent woman, but really is she? Do you know what I mean? If this was the middle of winter and it's freezing cold, my dog does exactly the same. She hops into the water, it doesn't seem to affect her at all. She's a cross between a border collie and a Springer. And she's more Springer than border collie, which means she loves the water. And that makes her coat all nice and white, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Ash, don't jump on me. I'm soaked. You see, every time you go for a walk, I end up covered in shit. I'm not controlling the gimbal very well because I haven't used it in a long time. Come on now. Come on. I like bringing her on the sand. It wears down her nails. Do you know, I do these shorts and stuff. I'm taking the piss out of Marlon. I'm taking the piss out of Marlon. People find it funny. Put in some memes and shit. And it is kind of funny in a fun kind of way. The other part of me is actually... The other part of me is kind of sad for them, if you know what I mean. So I'm kind of conflicted whether I'm actually doing the right thing or not. Some might say using comedy as a weapon is an effective tool to call out bullshit. But does it help them change? Does it convince them to change? Exposing them in a comedian type when I don't flip it know. This is why I'm conflicted with it. I need to sit down. You know? And I'd like to get some feedback on that because I have two ways of thinking of it. Look, she's flipping in it. She's even in a puddle. Oh no, I'm sorry. She even finds a dirty puddle to sit in. Don't even think about jumping on me now. Oh, she's all mucky. Why'd you have to jump in that puddle? No. No. She's about to jump on me. And she's covered in muck. There we go. There's a sign, first sign. Here's the name of this boat. There we go. Hopeful. What do I hope for? I kind of hope for healing, if you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, it's very hard to ignore really stupid things and people standing up for people doing really, really dumb stuff. I mean, like, when you're openly doing that on YouTube, you're kind of asking for it. But I keep asking the question, am I actually help or hindrance to the situation? You know what I mean? I hear the engine of a boat. 1 second. There's another big beach. See that hill? See that mountain to the left? There's a beach underneath that. Big long flipping beach. We go down the steps there. It's very flipping steep. And every so often, somebody comes down and power washes it because it can get very slippy and dangerous. Oh. I think more so. This is a very sad story actually. It's in Buncrana, which is the town next. Remember the hills I said on the left? You go on past there. There's a town called Buncrana. It's got beaches there too. Oh god, oh, it's a town. And there's a pier bigger than this one. Actually, much bigger than this one. And there's a slipway. And a family, all in an Audi Q7 SUV car, goes down onto the slipway, and it's all green and slippy and stuff, and it's a steep slipway, and yeah, the car slipped in, and at the end of the slipway is just a drop. It goes into deep water. Was it 5 or 7 people lost that day? I think there was something like 5 people lost out of the one family. It's been, I think, ever since then, they've been down power washing this, because if you slip on these steps, you're kind of done for the tide is in. And people come down here at night time and stuff. But yeah, it's a sad situation. Like, just here's the thing too about them modern cars. And I know mine is under that category, even though it's 2006. Your car goes into the water and you've got electric windows. If you had the old-fashioned car with the manual windows, you'd be able to flip and put the window down. But if you lose all electronics, you lose the ability to put down your window when your car is submerged in water, like, And you can't open the door until the pressure inside the car is the same as outside the car. But you could wind down a window, because it's not pushing against the water, it's just pushing, it's going down sort of thing. But if you have electric windows and your car gets submerged, obviously it's going to affect the electrics is all going to cut off, and then you can't open your window and escape. It's kind of, it wasn't the wisest thing in the world. Do you know what I mean? There should be sort of an overdrive, an option to have both, if you know what I mean. But anyway, this is cool on here. Oh, nice and quiet. And I said to Nora on a comment on a stream one night. She asked, "Would you go out of your way to help someone because you can?" Put 1 in the chat if you would, and put 2 in the chat if you won't. Something to that effect. And I says 1, yeah, I would. Even though I'm basically a hermit, I would still help people, you know what I mean? Most of the time it's me and the dog. And is this where I live? No, it isn't actually. My real life, which every so often I want to escape from, and I really want to escape from, is a housing estate that's full of drug and alcohol problems. I don't know most of my neighbours because they're either high on drugs or flipping drunk. So I keep to myself. And my doggy, who is up there, hello. Oh, she's coming back down now. Yeah, she's going to jump on top of me. Stop now. But this is where I sometimes go ghost hunting. My ghost hunting is a little bit pared back to what it used to be, using less equipment sort of thing. And I go out with a night vision camera and a big spotlight. And it does a number of different things. Gets me out of the house. Gets me exercising. It gets the dog out of the house. It gets her exercising. I get to make a YouTube video in night vision in a forest on the island here, or down along the shore or whatever, you know. And I get out of the house, you know. Actually, there's a small forest just up from here. One night, myself and a friend who I used to investigate with, we done an investigation down here, a paranormal investigation down here, and we're down here for a good few hours, and we decided, we'll pack it in, we'll go home. And we're only about 300 or 400 yards up the road. We find this forest. I says, right, let's not just bring the equipment. Let's just bring a spurt box and a night vision camera, and we'll go up and have a look. And another night we'll go down and we investigate that. And we got up to this point, we got nothing all night, not a thing. We walk up with the night vision camera, and I have the spurt box in my pocket. And it's up a hill. It's up a... Let me see. It's a hill like that sort of thing. I'm thinking this is just a commercial forest. It's not going to be up here. And we got to a certain point where we got to the top of the flipping hill, and mountainous area, and it's just pure rock. And there's one big slab of rock to climb up on. Once we climbed up on that rock, unknown to me at the time, Rachel, my other investigator, starts shaking. She doesn't know what's happening to her. It's a warm summer's night. I pass no remarks. And then I'm starting to feel a little bit tingly or something. It was just kind of weird. But it wasn't as badly affected as Rachel. I take out a spurt box, which is a sort of a hacked radio. If anybody's not familiar with spurt boxes of the paranormal, it's a sweeping radio. You know when you press a button on a radio and you go from one channel to another? This goes from one channel to another, but it doesn't mute the static in between, and it continues scanning without having to keep the finger on the button. And when you ask questions, sometimes you get direct answers. And to this day, nobody sort of knows whether they're using those frequencies of words and making the communication from that, or are they just completely interrupting the radio and directly communicating? Don't know, but there's been some weird things. But I'm a little bit overweight. I used to be a bit chubbier, but this is important for the story here. I turn on the spurt box, and we're getting sort of nothing. We're just getting... If you see Ghost Adventures, you'd see when they put on a spurt box, you hear the static and the little bits of radio stations. And I start asking questions. Next thing, the scan interrupts. And next thing, this male voice says, "You fat, see you next Tuesday." As in, the word. And Rachel is about 6 feet away from me with the camera, filming me doing the spurt box. And she spotted it straight away. I spotted it straight away, but she was 6 foot away. And between all the chatter and stuff, you fantasy. See you next Tuesday. And I look over at Rachel, and Rachel is there, and she's flipping, shaking, and the camera's going all over the place like this. And I didn't flip and realise. And we finish up the spur box session, and she says, I feel flipping. She says, I feel emotional all of a sudden, and I'm all shivery and shaky and stuff. And Rachel is much like myself when it comes to the paranormal. We don't go along with this, Sam and Kobe or Ghost Adventures, scare the shit out of our audience kind of thing. We try to find the truth, and if the truth isn't there, or if the evidence isn't there, it's not going to be on the camera, straight up. And we try to come across as, we go out to cemeteries and graveyards at night time, which is very spooky, and we just walk around as if it's the middle of the day. And I actually like those kinds of places at night time, not because it scares me. It doesn't. I actually find peace. Everybody else is in bed. I'm out in I'm out in a cemetery or something in the middle of the night, and there's nobody disturbing me, and I find it very peaceful and stuff. I don't find the paranormal scary. But we did find it scary that night because we just, the scan of the radio kind of stops. You fat, see you next Tuesday. And then I just point to the camera and says, you see those people that said that the ghost box is crap? Explain that. We don't do major editing in our videos either. We basically, it's probably to the detriment of the channel, we film as much as possible, and we put everything out on the internet. Every single thing. Even if there's dead air, it goes on. We don't edit it down. We don't pare it down to make a fancy episode. It's just as if it was live. We just film everything, give everybody information. But sometimes, when you film for about 3 or 4 hours, the important thing to do with a paranormal investigation is listen to every single thing. And you're listening over and over again to 3 or 4 hours of footage, and then you might be listening to a couple of hours of voice recordings and stuff. Listening out to see if there's any EVPs or anything weird happening in the background and stuff. So in case I miss something, if I start chopping up a video for a paranormal investigation, I might be throwing away evidence, if you know what I mean, as something I might miss that a viewer might pick up. And it's happened a couple of times where a viewer's actually said, yeah, there's a voice saying this and there's nobody around, like, kind of thing. But I didn't become famous like Sam and Kobe and Ghost Adventures or anything like that. The aim wasn't to be famous. I would love to be able to make some sort of living off it, because last couple of years been last year and a half been very, very difficult for me, with a lot of bad changes in the government in Northern Ireland. It's been horrible, and I've been struggling really hard, and it didn't, my channel didn't work out the way I thought it would, but it's sort of like a diary kind of thing. You can look back on places where I went, because sometimes I haven't the best memory in the world, But yeah, I thought I would come down here and just offload a few things about this whole situation about the ex-Scientology community and this what's been going on, because initially it was kind of like everybody's together for the one cause of exposing Scientology, but now a lot of energy is put into fighting amongst each other, and every time that flipping happens, the person in the middle of it is Aaron Smith-Levin. Every flipping time. Every time. Do you know? And every time he goes live, he's got the same mods, Northern Girl, George Massey, all these other people, Ferg, Cheryl and stuff. And you cannot challenge them. I was very surprised that my flipping comments were actually starred when Marlon done a live stream when Aaron was in jail. There was two flipping comments starred. One was a question, the other one was a kind of a comment to think about, sort of thing. And she read both of them out. I was surprised, because it wasn't long after that that I actually got flipping blocked. You know? And you see, the thing was, I wasn't trying to be flipping funny or smart or anything like that. I was planting a seed in Marlon's head. Something to think about, you know? Do you think it's acceptable for people to get arrested and, you know, for being aggressive towards Scientologists or something along those flipping lines? You know? And of course, Marlon goes, you know, don't look in this direction. What about, what you call them, DOA, direct defender vans, you know? It's just, the thing is, when you have groups of people, and a large group of people fighting for the one cause, it's kind of normal for there to be a split, you know? Oh, yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, and people don't worry, I'm not going to put up any of his clips. People didn't like it the last time, did they? Oh, no. We're going to be talking about Thomas Anderson. What a fucking fruitcake. Genie Mac. Oh, Tommy. Do you know something? I know his videos are the most boring on fucking YouTube. And I'm wondering, what's the purpose of these flipping videos? Is it kind of therapy for him? Whatever's in his head, he has to come out with it. I mean, like, 2,900 subscribers or whatever, and you only get 10 views on a video. Would you not give up by now? I flipping would. I would ask myself, what the fuck am I doing wrong here? But I need to tie my lace because I'm tripping on it. I need somewhere to put on my camera though. Yeah, Tommy Anderson. My God. Where do I start? Where does I intend to start was the flipping question. Did take the piss. I done a short, I think it was. But, yeah, it was, he was talking about Marlon and abuse of children. She was in a cult and she was possibly encouraged to punish her children. That's what a lot of these religious cults do. I wasn't pointing out that. Because I know that's happened. I know she's very regretful for being physical with her kids. A lot of these fucking religions, even those fucking even the religions that don't class themselves as a cult, you know. But in that video, he claimed he was a cult expert. Oh my fucking god! My god! A cult expert, the same cult expert that on a couple of occasions that I've seen some of his latest videos is calling out Nora and calling out, what do you call the woman with the red hair? Shite. This girl, calling them out for being in a cult as an adult. And basically what he's saying is, if you're in a cult as an adult, that's on you. I mean, like, and he claims to be a cult expert. Now, I don't have to explain, but I'm going to anyway, that do you know if your life is kind of going down the toilet and you have troubles and a group of people come along and you open up to them and they claim that they can help you sort your life out and your life is going to be brilliant and they love bomb you and they say look forward to the future because your future's going to be great. And you're in a vulnerable state because your life's in pieces. That's how this happens. That's how these things happen. If you were a cult expert, would you not know these things? But then again, the guy's horrible. The guy's if you're a YouTuber and you resort to making fun of people's physical appearances, fuck you. Nobody respects you. And you know damn rightly, he's got nothing else to do. He don't think he's married, don't think he has children. He's definitely not getting pulse. Because if he was, he wouldn't be making 3 videos a fucking day on complete and utter nonsense. I mean, like, again, completely off the cuff, no planning. Starts off every video, please give my channel a chance, give my other channels a chance. And then he gets into it. And it's usually raving about Nora, Aaron, or Toddy One Skip. Half the time it's not about cults at all. It's not about Scientology, it's not about cults. It's just about flipping, especially flipping Nora, Jeannie Mac. When it comes to YouTube, we're not going to agree 100% of the time. One thing you don't do is get personal, make fun of people's appearances, you know. But for some reason, this guy's obsessed with Nora, and it's not normal. And the reason why his name isn't going to go onto any title of any fucking video of mine from now on is I don't want to give him what he wants, which is he wants attention. And people have already copped on. Where can I sit? Can I sit here again? This guy makes 3 videos a day just to get attention. And I think it's important you don't give him what he wants, because he's not worth it. He doesn't have anything valuable to bring to the table except personal insults. I mean, like, we're adults here. We don't need this kind of crap, you know? I know Nora done a short addressing this, called him Mew Mew, which is kind of funny. Exactly what she says. This guy needs some sort of help, and hopefully he gets the help he needs, because that's not normal at all. Of course, the dog finds another flipping puddle to mess in. There's a flipping load of water. Hey, yo. Oh, it's fresh water she's drinking. She won't go in the water now because I'm sitting down. But there's nobody else down here except myself. And I can hear the birds, which is nice. The area I live in is so bad that the birds are scared to come out. So it's nice to come down here and get some birds singing. I'm trying to tie my lace with one hand, which isn't working. Hold on a second. Of course, I can turn the camera off. Takes a couple of minutes for the gimbal to figure out what's going on. But anyway, yeah, I mean, last couple of days I've had a habit of finding out what he's blabbering about, and I need to stop doing that, because it's just nonsense he's coming out with, and it's just his own personal bias, an opportunity to personally attack people. It's just horrible, you know. I think the only one occasion I heard him complimenting somebody is he said he used to fancy, when he was young, he used to fancy Leah Remini. Apart from that, all he talks about is people he doesn't like, which is kind of... And when you think about, please give my channel a chance, please give my other channels a chance. His other channels are something like comics or some nonsense that I'm not interested in. And it's just... He tries to be funny as well. Here's the thing, right? He puts on these voices, and Nora says, and he's trying to be humorous. He's trying to he's trying to make comedy by making fun of somebody else's voice, by putting on a funny voice, and it falls flat every single time. He just sounds like a crazy person. This is paradise here. I need to go over and get my tea. My tea's in the car. Let's have a look. I might camp here some night. Oh, I have tea in the car. I have tea in my Porsche. I'm gonna go grab it. Excuse me. Hello, dog guy. Poor dog, he's been stuck in an apartment for flipping weeks. I hadn't been well. Oh yeah, I remember one night. I was parked there and I was looking at my TV in the car. And there's rubbish like bags of rubbish like that there. But there were more sort of where that stone is. And I'm sitting in the car and I have the window open. And next thing I start hearing rustling in one of the bags. So I think there was a mouse in there or something, or a rat. Here we go. No, you don't have to go in yet. No, the wee babies don't have to go in yet. I'm just getting my tea. There's not a white lot in it, to be in all fairness. Went back down to the stone I was on. But is there a solution to the conflict? The inner conflict in the ex-Scientology thing, because the purpose was to make a complete and utter fool of the Scientology movement and the Scientology organization. And instead, people are making a fool of each other. It's kind of like the focus has gone from exposing Scientology to exposing people, each other and stuff. And like I says, every time this happens, Smith-Levin is the one stuck in the middle of the whole thing, or he's involved in it somehow. And going back to the David Pakman thing, David Pakman put out this video, and it was kind of, it was to draw attention. And it was probably to draw attention to what actually was going on. See, Aaron hasn't got his own ideas. He has to steal everybody else's. You know? And he decides he's going to make a video, the same video as David Pakman, because he wants to get views. Don't think his main priority was highlighting the problems with YouTube at the moment and people not seeing videos and stuff. And, you know, pointing the finger in every direction apart from himself. The truth of the matter is, Aaron was very good at educating people about Scientology. And then his personal life got involved. And then people are going, this is too much fucking drama. This is not why I'm here. This is why loads of people are subscribed and not looking at him anymore. You know? And when you stop when you stop watching people's videos, they don't get recommended videos anymore. Because they pick up your own habits. This AI flipping thing picks up your habits and dishes out stuff that you've been watching. You know, and if you haven't been watching Aaron for a long time, you're not going to get recommended stuff. That's simple. And the reason why people are not watching is because the purpose of the channel was to educate people on Scientology, which he was very good at, and exposing Scientology and giving out bits and pieces of information. Then he started clickbaiting. He started going into talking about flipping Tom Cruise and John Travolta and stuff like that. And, John Travolta and Tom Cruise, their name in the title, figured out that, you put a celebrity's name in the title of your video and you're going to get views. That's how these these paranormal ghost ITC people, Steve Huff and those kinds of people. If you're not into the paranormal, you're probably not having a clue what I'm flipping talking about. But there's a section of the paranormal on YouTube, and it's let's just say a lot of people don't like them, including myself. Not don't like them, but don't like what they do. A celebrity dies, and the minute the celebrity dies, all these people are scrambling to be the first person to communicate with that dead celebrity through a spirit box or an app or some piece of software that they design themselves on their marketing, and they don't turn off ads. They promote their mugs and t-shirts and all that kind of shit on a dead celebrity that just died. When you put a celebrity's name into the title of your video, you're going to get flipping views. That's how Aaron basically has been scraping the bottom of the bar to try and get attention. And then sometimes clickbaiting, which is just... He hasn't freshened up enough. He hasn't revamped he needs to revamp the whole channel. He needs to get rid of that flipping this Aaron crap. He needs to get rid of all of that. It's after a couple of years, it starts to get annoying, if you know what I mean. It fucking annoys the fuck out of me. You know what I mean? And just get professional. Spend a couple hours making proper flipping intros and stuff. And be dramatic. Grab the attention. Sit down and think. Don't just flipping have a file on your computer with the Aaron thing that he clipped from some, TV show and mix it up a little bit. I've done it myself. I've done that. I found that piece of clip myself and I used it in shorts and stuff. It's fucking lazy. It's just a couple about 30 seconds or whatever of a clip, and he has 2 or 3 of them, but it's all the same. It just has the same effect. Do you know this? Do you want to go to war, Blackie? I'm for real. Hey, Aaron. Aaron's right here, guys. Welcome to Sptv, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. I mean, I'm going, for fuck's sake. It's cringe. It's cringe. He needs to wipe the slate clean and just start again. And stay out of his personal life, for fuck's sake. How is this all going to go? Hit with him and Jenna Miscavige. Well, Jenna Miscavige is already, already caught up in controversy with domestic violence, caused the police. It happened, and they're back together. But to their community, everything's all rosy and stuff. No, it's not. It's not. And then all of a sudden, if you don't support Janet, Janet's just going to be nasty to you. She's changing because of Aaron. She's, you know, first of all, people were actually sorry for her, you know? And then coming on YouTube, you know, pouring her heart out and that, and everybody felt sorry for her. When it happened the second time, and then people were going, oh no. Did you not learn the first time? But people still felt sorry for her. But then when she started flipping attacking people that criticised Aaron and stuff, and the sympathy went away very quickly. But if something happens to her again, you know, I would say people would, you know, turn around and be sympathetic towards her again. You know, even though she has been scalded a couple of times. But definitely Aaron isn't a person to bring home to your mother with the track record he's got. That's documented on YouTube. I mean, like, how, do you know what I mean? Most of these people that do these things don't do them on camera. You know? But, yeah. And his followers see the same videos. And it's fine with them. Yeah, it's a bit dodgy. I find it a very strange experience actually being in his community and trying to communicate with Marilyn that night she was on. It was like being in a cult, and I don't know who the flip was timing me out every flipping time. I kept trying to redo my words so I wouldn't get timed out. I was getting timed out straight away. The second the flipping I put up the comment, I was getting timed out on. You know, it's very, very controlling there. And there's where another one of those problems are. Aaron, don't think you're going to listen to me anyway on my shitty little channel. But one of your major problems is, Aaron, you're surrounded by yes people. It's a bad thing. Yes people to the point of blocking people that ask you slightly challenging questions that are respectful. So when many people are blocked on Aaron's channel by mods, it's a major problem. So Aaron has another problem on his hands, is he's not growing because a lot of people that have been watching him can't write in the comments because they're blocked. Been subscribed to them for a long time and got blocked for asking one question. They didn't fit their narrative. They didn't even slightly challenging. Block, block, block. If you have that much of a controlling chat, you got big problems. They're power hungry. They want to control the narrative. So in a way, Aaron is not control of his channel. His mods are. So yeah, it's not good. Doggy's having fun. I'm having fun. I'm going to roll a cigarette and be back to you in a second, folks. This is peaceful. This is nice. Oh yeah. I brought up this comment earlier on in my very large comment on Nora's post. And it was to do with a couple of years ago. There was a big storm in Florida and around Clearwater. knocked down a load of trees. And Aaron was preparing for this storm by having a cigar and some drinks and stuff, and said everything's going to be fine, and slightly worried about this tree, but otherwise I'm chilling, baby. And the next morning, part of this tree, or this whole tree, falls down in his garden, and himself and I think it was Clearwater George we're in his front yard cutting up this tree. And next thing, Aaron spots some black and white uniforms around the vehicle just up from his house. Across the road is a park. That park was very badly damaged during that storm. Aaron goes into his house, put on his Sptv black shirt on him, grabs his camera, and proceeds to go in the direction of these Scientology people that are dressed like waiters. And when he got there, realizes that the vehicle that they've been traveling in has had a puncture. So they're kind of stuck. So Aaron starts chasing them and pestering them and shouting at them and run, and scaring these people. This other vehicle arrives pretty quickly. They climb into it and get out of there. One lady that he was chasing, shout, run, oh, and that she dropped her phone or something. You dropped your phone, run. She is so scared, she climbs over the person that's in the passenger seat to get to the other side. I'm thinking, what are you doing, man? Do you know what I mean? Right, just say, I'm sitting here nice and quietly, there's nobody around, and a vehicle, a minibus or whatever, arrives on the scene, and out comes a load of people that look like waiters, and they've got a puncture, and they're going, oh my God, what am I going to do? And it's full of ladies that are not, don't twist this. People are, right, it's full of, I'm not saying ladies, I'm saying there's plenty of gentlemen out there too that are not clued up on how to change a wheel. So the group of people are worried, what are we going to do? How are we going to change this wheel? And they're what do you think I'm going to do? Am I going to grab my camera and run up and start chasing them around the place? No, I'm not, actually. I'm going to help them up because I'm experienced in changing wheels. I've worked on cars for many years. And we're going to have a little chat. I'm going to ask them, first of all, do they work in a hotel and all the rest of it? And when they start telling me that they work in Scientology, I'm not going to get angry or anything like that. I'm going to play a little bit dumb for a while. And I'm going to let them explain what Scientology is, because they're probably wanting to tell me anyway. They're probably going to talk to me about Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard and David Miscavige and all the rest of it. I'm going to just play dumb. And towards the end, I'm going to give them little bits of hints that I actually did know what I was what they were talking about, and try to explain that my life as a free person, I'm going to try to put it in the most gentlest way possible. I'm free to do what I want. I'm going to try and put it in a way that's not critical of Scientology, because the minute you start criticizing a person's belief system or religion, they either will fight back or they will shut the conversation down very quickly. The aim there is you've got an opportunity to plant a seed here. You're going to ask them what they do every day. What is their sort of daily routine as a Scientologist? I study from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I have 15 minutes for lunch. Then I do some manual labor or whatever the flip it is, and then I have to go back into class till 10 o'clock at night, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be saying, do you have free time? And do you get paid and all this kind of stuff? And you try to put in normal life into it to try and counteract what they're saying. It's kind of saying, what you're trying to do. You see, you have to be in the situation to know exactly what to do. You make it up as you go along. But what you try to do here is you try not to insult Scientology, but you try to bring across that there's a better way without saying Scientology is shit, if you know what I'm saying. The minute you start criticizing what they're doing is when the conversation ends, kind of thing. People have admired me for having conversations on the phone with very difficult people, and how difficult people that need to make decisions that affect your life really, really badly. It could affect you really badly or affect you very well. I was in a homeless situation. I had to move to this part of the country because I'm not going to get into it too much, but I had to flee my country. And I was my life was in danger, let's just say. And I had to flee to homeless accommodation. And I came to Northern Ireland side of the border, which I didn't have the proper... I wasn't a citizen of Northern Ireland, so I had to get all set up in that sort of way. And to get sorted out with benefits and stuff like that. Now, some of the people that were in this homeless accommodation, their phone calls to these people that are supposed to be trying to help them out, and very often drag their heels, and they do drag their heels. The person would get the people that are ringing these people to get help very often don't help themselves by getting impatient and starting to get frustrated at them and start shouting. My strategy was different. The longer you can keep these people on the phone and the longer you can have a conversation with them, and the more of a chance they start to get to know you, you become more than a number. And what you do is you talk nicely to them, you give them respect, and you try to keep them talking as much as possible to give them a chance to know you. And then, because they're dragging their heels, you would say, I would appreciate if you could help me out as soon as possible, because I'm not in a very good situation right now. And remember the results of that. And the people, there's people running this homeless accommodation place, right? And the guy in the office is over listening my conversation. It's on loudspeaker, and he's hearing the whole conversation, because he's trying to help. He's trying to help me out too, because that's what he's trained for. And I say towards the end of the phone call, listen, I've just been through a dramatic experience where my life was put in danger. I'm, you know, it's not my fault that I'm in this situation, but I would like to get on with my life as soon as possible. And you're the only person that can actually help me right now. And I'm asking you, can you help me as soon as possible? Because I just want to get on with my life. I want to start over again. I want, your life, my life's in your hands right now. And I need you to help me. And I'm asking you and I'm pleading with you, can you help me as soon as possible? And up until that point, I was waiting for flipping weeks to get any kind of money. What was I getting? £20, 20 English pounds a week. And they says, the person on the other end of the phone, says, we'll have money in your account this afternoon, in 2 hours' time. I said, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful. It's been a great help. And you don't know what you've just done. And I know you probably don't get a huge amounts of thanks, but thank you very much. Because, this affects my life. And thank you. I said, yeah, no problem. Really glad to help. And thank you very much for the thanks and everything. And they're very nice. Have a nice day. Put up the phone. The guy in the office turns around and he says, you're a fucking genius. How did you do that? He says, the longer you keep them on the phone, the more you get to know them. So in this situation where the Scientologist is over beside my car and they've got a puncture, I've an opportunity to help them fix the puncture. I'm going to keep them talking for ages. I'm going to let them talk about Scientology all they want. And then I'm going to jump into the conversation because I'm not a Scientologist. I'm not in that situation. I'm going to talk about my life. And things I've been through and how I feel about life as a person that's free in most aspects of life. Yeah, no, we're not fully free, unless you're flipping living in the woods. No, you know what I mean? Not, off-grid, in the middle of nowhere, whatever, which is a fucking great idea, I think. But I'm going to put aspects of my life in the conversation. I'm not going to criticize Scientology. I'm not going to criticize what they're doing. I'm just going to compare mine with theirs. Well, I'm going to put my 2 cents of the conversation to give them an idea of what it's like to be outside of Scientology, And I'd work it from there. It's very difficult unless, you have a mock-up and you're in that situation. But you sort of play it by ear. But the longer you keep in contact with them, and the longer you keep the conversation going, the more they get to know you, the more they get comfortable with you. Then you can start planting the seeds. You see, people think that fighting cults, fighting Scientology in this aspect is won by aggression and anger. In the normal protesting kind of way with the banners standing outside the buildings and stuff, if you have an opportunity to use the weapon of kindness and love, it's a more powerful weapon than anger and aggression. When you think about it, I need to stand up now because my legs are seizing up. When you think about it, they've been told in Scientology that we're kind of dumb because we don't know the tech, or we don't know what's going on in Scientology. They're saving the planet. You know what I'm saying? They've got the knowledge. They got the L. Ron Hubbard, stuff. The mysteries of the world. The answers to the questions of life. They've got the answers. We don't. We're dumb. So, if you're fighting them on the streets with aggression, what are you actually doing? You're actually proving them right. Because they're going to turn around. Those people out there are fucking crazy. I'm safer inside here in the Scientology building. It's flipping raining now. You know what I'm saying? So, Aaron or Eric, Eric, one of these examples, Eric, and this security guard. What is it? Mateo. Yeah, Mateo. Mateo's a guy I'd like to talk to in that situation. Mateo seems to be a placid kind of a guy. A guy, I'd say he'd be easy enough to have a conversation. Where's my seat? It's over here. He'd be easy enough to have a conversation with. You know what I'm saying? Hello. This gimbal is all over the place, so I'm not used to it. Hello. I seen Eric a while back roaring and shouting at Mateo. Aaron has done the same. Mateo's kind of a pain in the ass in that you're out protesting and some Scientology kids stop off to have a wee chat with you. Mateo's on the case within flipping seconds with his electric bike, along with another colleague, telling the kids, we better go back to the place or whatever. Complete and utter controlling, and that angers Aaron. And I understand that, and I understand it probably angers Eric as well. But when Aaron is roaring and shouting in Mateo's face, and Mateo's just standing there, he's not saying anything. I know he's got flipping this, usually sunglasses on him, but I can sort of see the body language. There's kind of a fear there. He stands his ground, but there's fear there. I think Mateo's the type of guy that you could plant seeds of doubt in what he's doing. It's an opportunity to say, listen, we can't keep meeting like this, and you're a brilliant security, you're a brilliant security guard. And do you know how much security guards get paid? You could do more courses and have a firearms license. You could be a bodyguard, and then there'd be more money. Don't just go down the money line, but then you're going to have flipping maybe weekends off. If you don't get weekends off, you're going to get flipping 2 or 3 days off during the week. You're not going to be working fucking 12 hours a day or 13 or 14 hours a day. You're probably only going to be working 8 hours a day. Do you know what I mean? And you're not going to be... Do you know what I mean? It's sort of... It's easy money. And you can have your own car, and you can have your own house, and have your own life. You can have your own freedom, and you have fucking holidays and everything. Feed them that information. Listen, we have a foundation to help people get out and get on their feet. And here's the address, or here's the email address, or whatever. Mateo, I know you're kind of stuck in Scientology at the moment. But if you ever doubt things, you ever sit down before you go to bed at night and you doubt what you're doing, give me a call. Be happy to talk to you. You know what I mean? You know, don't be a stranger, Matteo. That's the way I would approach that one. I think Aaron did do that, but he didn't do it in a kind, gentle way, if you know what I mean. But, you know, it's counterproductive when you start shouting at him then other times. You know what I mean? You know? But all of this, you know, it's overshadowed. All the people trying to expose Scientology, it's overshadowed now by the people criticizing them, fighting with each other. There's more content in the drama of them infighting than actually protesting Scientology. It's and then some of them stay in that drama because actually, yeah, we're getting views for this shit, but we've gone off track. We've driven into the ditch. Do you know what I'm saying? There was something else on my mind. It's flipping gone now, but it'll come back in a second. Dog's having a great time. She's having a pee at the moment. Got her the wrong second. But, yeah. Still, nobody's on here. Oh, yeah. I made a comment on Voices Down Under. Something to do with the speed runs. And I might have been a wee bit controversial. I don't know. And I may or may not have been misunderstood. What's my thoughts on speed running? And why do people support it and why do people not support it? Cast your mind back to a number of years ago when TikTokers were outside the recruitment building in Los Angeles and outside La Poubelle restaurant. And there was, you know, up to 20 people going live on TikTok or YouTube or whatever they were doing. And then suddenly it's all gone. Suddenly it's just all disappeared. And that was sort of, that was a major time where I was looking at lots of other people's streams. William Good, Jessica Palmadessa, all these other people. Now, what was my thoughts on some of these people? People were thinking they were the best things to slice bread. I had sort of mixed thoughts. I thought some of them were in it for the clout and some of them weren't. If you know what I mean. Yeah, they were doing, you know, they were doing a good job, some of them, but some of them were actually just in it for they were getting views every day and they were getting paid, so they might as well just keep doing it. I'm not saying everybody, so don't just don't twist it. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm trying to bring both sides into it. Now, William Good ended up on the H3 podcast. Great publicity there. Knew his stuff. People looked up to him as kind of the unofficial leader or guide to the group kind of thing. And people stepped out of line, you know, William would call them out and say, "Stop messing about! You're gonna get us all into trouble, or it doesn't look good, or whatever. Just calm down, dial it back a bit, blah blah blah." You know, that kind of way. Then you had DOA dressing up in funny clothes and playing funny songs in front of funny rude songs in front of the security guards in front of the Lapu restaurant. And then the squatting started, which started becoming really frequent, and I was just looking a wee bit kind of dodgy. Then it all kind of blew up. Flipping DOA was calling out people for being bad actors. There was a big infighting there, and I don't know why a lot about the court cases that DOA is involved in. I know there's some assault charges and misdemeanors and stuff like that, which didn't help situations. DOA started calling out people, and he started making enemies for himself and stuff. Then everything died down for some flipping reason. I don't know whether I know the recruitment centre was closed for a while because there was too many people, you know, protesting outside and all that kind of stuff. But everything disappeared. Do you know when it started reappearing again? When the TikTokers, when the speedrunners started doing their thing, the speedrunners, the TikTok speedrunners, all of a sudden William Good is back after flipping 6 months, and Jessica Palmadessa is back after a long absence, going out ghost hunting and abandoned exploring and stuff. All of a sudden, they're back into doing Scientology again. Hope I'm not going to rub people up the wrong way, but it seems kind of odd to me. If you're really into it for the cause, why the long absence and why the sudden reappearance after TikTokers started doing speedruns and stuff? You know? Yeah, I'm sure some of these people, you know, done good for the whole thing. But it's just the way they disappeared and then come back when the TikTokers freshen things up again. Oh, it's back. Is it that the whole thing went stale and then it was just freshened up by speedrunners again? So all of a sudden Scientology is trending again. So let's go out and do some videos. Is that what I'm looking at there? I'm just asking. Do you know what I mean? Now, about the speed running. It's young kids. It's to me, it's basically it's kids. Just most of them don't have a lot of skin in the game, to be honest with you. Can I turn this around? Right. Can we turn, please? Thank you. Most of them don't have these challenges. It's a trending topic kind of thing, and it's a chance to get views when you create a challenge and it starts taking traction. Does it actually Does it help in exposing Scientology? That's a difficult one. There's a couple of answers to that question. It's not as simple as yes or no. On one side of it, you get a bit of information. You get to know that there's not as many people in these buildings as they try to make out to be. So the numbers of Scientology people in these buildings is largely exaggerated. But like all challenges, it's going to fall flat on its face at some point. And usually with other challenges, the reason it falls flat on its face is somebody gets hurt. And that's a big possibility. I've seen one speed run where one of the guys gets caught and says, listen, you need to leave. This guy over here has a gun. Now, if there's an incident and a firearm is used and it ends up in court, Scientology is going to push that they felt their life was in danger. There's already been, from what I heard, somebody went in there with an airsoft gun or a paintball gun. I think it was an airsoft gun. Have you seen an airsoft gun? Some of these, highly well manufactured airsoft guns look like a real gun. I've got two of them myself. I got an AK-74 with a folding stock that has all the wells of the real AK. And I have can't remember what the handgun looks like, or that name of the handgun. It's a H&K pistol. It looks exactly like the same thing. It's got a metal slider and a polyurethane stock. Looks like the same. When you look at it from a distance, you think it's a real thing. But if this incident was true, that somebody went in there with an airsoft gun, it's not going to take long for something bad to happen in that particular case, where it's mistaken for a real gun, and somebody's just busted into Scientology with a flipping airsoft gun, which may be a real gun. What do you do in that situation? So what is the Scientologist supposed to do when there's a bunch of young fellas busting into Scientology and somebody has what looks like a gun in their hand, and the security guards with guns? What do you think is going to happen? That's where the problems are. Along with, Scientologists exaggerating injuries during struggles and stuff like that. The less you have contact with these people, the better. So, not a brilliant idea. But do I believe it's? I don't believe it's genuine. I believe it's just one of these ice bucket challenges kind of thing. Yes, there's games and stuff, which is mapping out buildings and stuff. It doesn't matter. Is that information vital to fighting Scientology? I don't think so, unless there's something dodgy in some of these buildings. The main information we've gathered from it is that numbers of Scientologists is completely inflated. This gimbal's gone all over the place. Hello, come back to me, please. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's completely inflated. Thing is, we already knew that. But there's another side to this. How long have people that have a problem with Scientology been protesting outside Scientology buildings? It goes back years and years, 20, 30 years. Sometimes it takes a sudden surprise. If people are protesting every day, it doesn't become a major event. Why is this doing this? It doesn't become a major event because it's an everyday thing. It's a normal thing. People protesting outside Scientology buildings happens every day. Sometimes you need a shock factor. That was the shock factor. That's what made things different. But, and I understand if people were doing this to expose Scientology, they were just basically fed up of Scientology getting away with the same shit, even though people have been protesting for years. It's time to do something different, so we're going to do this. Now, it's not the best choice in the world, to be honest with you, but if it was done for the right reason, I kind of understand, but I think it's the wrong call. And I tried to explain that in a comment on Voices Down Under, and maybe I might have. I don't know if I explained myself very well, if you know what I mean. Sometimes it takes something completely surprising, shocking, to bring Scientology back into the forefront. Now, I'm not saying that protesting outside Scientology buildings with banners and stuff is starting to become ineffective. It is. People obviously react to that when they're walking past. You're educating people, and then you're showing the Scientologists inside that the people outside aren't too happy with us. I wonder why. Some of them might question that, but sometimes it takes a bit of a shocker to get noticed, because when you have the same plan and you're doing that same plan over and over again, it starts becoming normal, and it takes something abnormal to draw attention, if you know what I mean. Do I agree with the speed runs? No, I don't. It's just too haphazard, if you know what I mean. It's just too... There's too many things to go wrong here. If it was a planned strategy, it wasn't planned very well. We already know that some of these kids, they bust into these places and run around the place not knowing where places are. And the reason why they're in there is to map the place out so they can make flipping games on Roblox and other streaming platforms. Already seen a number of games on Roblox. Wasn't very successful in playing them, actually. There was one game where I think it was in the middle of being constructed, and I was standing outside the recruitment building trying to find a door to open to get in because there was nothing there. And then there was another game where there was at least 20 other players doing these speed runs, and of course I got caught every time. But the one thing I noticed when you go into the recruitment building, there's a kind of a little bit of a ramp going down or steps going down. There's a lower kind of level. You know, the main reception area, you go to the left-hand side of the reception area, there's a couple of 3 or 4 steps down to another level sort of thing. They seem to be consistent with all these other games. There was 1 or 2 differences, let's just say, but the rest of the layout was kind of accurate kind of thing. They were kind of similar. Will that bring any sort of information or any exposed to Scientology? I don't know, unless there's something dodgy in there that we should know about. So I don't know. You know, but is it going to help close on Scientology? I don't think so, because I mean, like these other trends, attention requires social media. Social media requires some drama and something completely off the norm. But sooner or later, what's completely off the normal becomes normal, and then it dies off, and then something else happens. So it's not. Again, I don't know if it's I don't think a lot of these kids, they've no skin in the game. They're just a lot of the time doing this for laughs. And I don't know if it's genuine helping the cause at all. In fact, it may be damaging. You know, now there was a kind of a people are split in that situation. Leah Remini out and out condemned it because maybe she does think it's wrong, but it's the right PR move to do. If you're a well-known actress in Hollywood, and you're saying good on these kids for doing this, and then something really bad happens, it kind of doesn't look well for you, if you know what I mean. So whether she played it safe or she purposely wanted to put the message out there, she put the message out there. Seriously, come this way. Come on, this way. Aaron and Jen, on the other hand. Now, I don't. A lot of bad things to say, but I think they were a bit stupid. They were a bit careless, if you know what I mean, because they're backing and supporting this activity, which could backfire. And then there's where their criticism comes in, because they supported this and then somebody gets hurt or worse. Whether they're going to dial it back or not is another thing. Jenna Miscavige is well known on mainstream media and other places for supporting these speed runs. But if something goes bad, it's not going to look good for them. So they didn't think of that, really, did they? were what's her name? My head's not working. The actress from flipping The Aftermath. She is completely and utterly safe from responsibility if anything happens because she condemned it. She's telling the kids not to do this shit because things could go wrong, which they could. But you see, that's where Aaron is a bit haphazard and things, you know. We're not alone anymore. Their peace has been disrupted by another car. Right. Have I covered everything? I've probably gone on for flipping ages now. It's going to be a long video. Well, last look at the landscape and then I'm going to go. There's a golf over there. He's, what he's done is, he's driven onto the sand. Oh, shite. He's a lowered car. He's driven onto the sand, thought he might be able to turn at the pier, but there's a big pile of lobster pots. And he has to turn on the pier, on the slipway. And he's kind of wedged. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in a bit of bother there. Let me see. Oops. You see where the situation he's in. He'll get out of it though, I think. Yeah, he's fine now. That's grand. Anyway, I think I've covered all I wanted to cover. You know? But, you know, I've been arguing with myself about my shorts, my piss taking and stuff. And I'm questioning myself, am I actually helping the situation or just making things worse? Or just being a goof, you know? Because behind the scenes, I'm actually I feel sorry for a lot of these people, including Aaron, including, you know, for Cheryl, Eric, Marlon. Don't hate any of these people. But I do see some problems, and I do see some issues. I'm not saying mental issues or, you know, I'm not saying any of that stuff, but I see issues. I see control issues, same type of control issues from when they were in a controlled environment. They've got themselves back into a controlled environment and feel like they have to back up Aaron no matter what, because if that community falls apart, they're going to feel alone or something. Do you know, here's the thing too, Marlon's husband made this lovely house, and she put the video on members only after she had put it public, and I seen that public video. It's a fucking it's an A-frame house. Anybody doesn't know what an A-frame house? It's a triangle sort of house. It's made out of wood. It's in the woods. It's in a lovely place. Do you know, if I was in her situation, I would just, every time I spend time in that house, don't think about any of these people. It's your environment. Be peace with yourself. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, just keep propping up this guy. It's just going to cause problems for you. You know, there's people on, two sides would say Marilyn is a good person that does bad things, or Marilyn is a bad person and covers it up by this kind of, I'm a nice person that knits things and talk really low and stuff like that, and that's a cover. I just think that she's possibly a good person that sometimes does bad shit, and I know she does a lot of stuff on Tommy Scoville and Reese and stuff. She's got into this habit and stuff, and it's got to the point of obsession and that, But I think to be honest with you, there needs to be healing, if you know what I mean. There was a stream where Voices Down Under was on Lindsay's stream, and they actually covered all of this. And I think they hit the nail on the head, where everybody in that situation needs healing. Do you know what I mean? Because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to resolve this whole situation without some healing and stuff. Because the situation kind of isn't normal in everyday life. And I don't know if they realise that, this is not normal behaviour, this kind of infighting, and this kind of propping up a guy who assaulted women, and it's been recorded, and being very rude to Scientologists and being very aggressive towards Scientologists and stuff like that. And that's okay. Propping these people up and then blocking anybody that, has anything to challenge them with. It's horrible. It's not... If you're a true friend to Aaron, you just call him out. Listen, but they're afraid to do that because, they're kind of stuck in a situation where you got this, this members only thing. That's where we talk about Nora. You don't want to be a Nora, do you? So keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like, But anyway, I think I've gone on a bit, These people in the Gulf have actually gone fishing, and they've actually managed to park their car or something. I hope they catch fish. There we go. Why are we not working now? There we go. And they've gone to the pier to fish. I don't know what flipping time it is. But anyway, I spent enough time on this. And I'm going to sit here quietly for a little while. Because I haven't been out in a long time. I've sheltered myself away. Which doesn't do me any good at all. So I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a cigarette and stuff. And possibly get this dog back in the water because she's covered in sand. I want to get her cleaned up before we get her back in the car. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.